Hello, and thanks for joining me. Also joining me this morning is my guest, Elliot Jacobs from Sales Progressors. Elliot, how are you doing?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
I've just been talking to an agent who said to me his struggle was he wants to grow his brand. So he's like a one-man band, and he has a limited market share because he can't do everything. But what he loves doing is going out, getting doing the valuations. He loves agreeing the sales. What he hates doing is progressing the sales.
Well, he sounds amazing because I've been in that position, and you get to a point where you just can't grow because you can't do 10 jobs. And you can't do 2,500 leaflets a week. You can't do your viewings. You can't do your valuations. You can't do your take-ons, your property write-ups, be in the phone, be in the office, be out the office, sales progression. And that's the problem that we had as well. So as opposed to setting up our own estate agency, we wanted to do something that helped people grow their brand, because that's what we're not money orientated. I know that's daft to sound, as I've already mentioned to you. We want things to be better because in the last 12 months, because this has taken 12 months of planning, and I know we're talking very quickly about what we do as opposed to everything else, but we might as well get on with it.
It's all right. We're recording. We're carrying on.
Okay. No. Well, when you're passionate about something, it's very easy to talk about it, isn't it? But that is the first point you made. That is the reason why we've set up this business, to help great estate agents have great service at the back end and grow the business. Because being part of businesses up and down the country was more important to us than growing our own business for profit, because we've already done that in a different industry, as well as for other people. Sorry, I'm turning the phone off. I know we're recording, that's really rude. But I don't want us being interrupted. But yeah, no, that sounds great, and I'm hoping there's people that can relate to it.
So I think there are, and I think that's the story with agents in general, is that sometimes they don't realise that they can actually achieve sometimes an even better result by outsourcing parts of the process. And Elliot, I think it sometimes comes down to trust, doesn't it? You need
100%.
to, if you're outsourcing something, you need to know that it's being handled correctly.
I don't trust anybody, David.
You did. Do you know what? First conversation we ever had, you told me that. I'm a perfectionist, and I like to do everything perfect. But I'll come to why we've done particular things to help build that trust. But I'll come to that in a minute. So in terms of particular things that build trust, I think one of the brands, if you like, but it's not just a brand, it's a member body that really stands for something. But Property Mark is one of those institutions that you would think, if you're dealing with a Property Mark agent, that they abide by certain standards, that they know their stuff, and that's where you've decided to position your business.
Yeah, our business has taken 12 months of planning, as well as buying and selling our own house. So we've also seen it from the consumer perspective. So there's loads of things that we've seen and thought, actually, if we did this and we did this and we did this, not only would it make it great for estate agents, not only would it maybe bring conveyancers and estate agents on the same team, because I'm quite new to LinkedIn, but there's quite a lot of conversations after you follow people, and there's almost this disconnect between people when everyone's on the same team. And then also, it's just making it amazing for estate agents as well, and helping them build their brand. And there's one important thing that I've watched all the webinars from similar companies to ourselves, because I'm quite diligent. I like to know what everyone else is thinking, what they're doing. And the one thing that's not been picked up on is sales progression is actually a tool to pick up valuations. And just when I used to run an independent estate agent for somebody else, and I started building my team, and I had that restriction of, I got to a point, did I employ somebody at 25 grand and then take a back step for 12 to 18 months? I wish I had an outsourced company that we'd set up and thought about, because it would help me to double the amount of property listings I potentially could take on whilst maintaining that service. And then going back to the point I was making about sales progression as actually a valuation tool, done correctly, the people that use you are the best people to speak about you. So I remember one instance where there was a teacher that we used, and she had a few estate agents around, and she chose myself based on just how much I love actually selling houses. And I was talking to them about not actually selling their house, actually talking to them how much I loved it, and marketing the properties and $1 million listing and watching TV programs and stuff like that. And then they bought into that. But through the sales process, it's building that rapport every week and having those conversations, not necessarily about the house sale, but just what they're interested in. And because you have a different approach, they then she was a teacher, talked to the people at work. And because they talked to the people at work about it, they then came to us because we looked after them. And it's actually looking at sales progression, not only as a chore or admin or getting it done as quickly as possible because you get your money in. It's actually seeing that as, even if it took a couple of weeks more to do, building that rapport over time can actually build you more instructions for the service that you're providing. And because you're providing it different to everybody, how everybody else is doing it, it gives you that USP over everybody else.
Going back to your own experiences when buying a house, you picked up some useful sort of hints along the way. You had some experience yourself.
Yeah, I don't like to talk negatively. I don't like to talk negatively about anything, but communication. What I found is an estate agent would sell the house and be fantastic at it, but then disappear. And we didn't speak to our estate agent. They didn't answer the phone for 3 months during sales progression, which, after telling them, obviously, we were in the industry and we were really impressed with them coming around and then even selling the house, they were absolutely fantastic, but then disappeared. And because of that, we've spoken to the dads and mums at football out for the under-9s team, telling them how bad it was, so then they would never use them. And it's about, I know at this point it's been made by other similar companies to ourselves, but people remember how much you sold the house for, because obviously that's money and that's really important. And then how stress-free and how easy it was through the sales process. And if you can do that really well, you will pick up loads of valuations from repeat business. Because I know that a lot of people spend a lot of money on Google ads or posts on social media or leaflets, because I used to do that as well, or Zupa and Rightmove valuation boosters, and they spend quite a lot of money on that. But once you've got a customer, it's really easy to make that customer into 2 or 3 customers just from the people that they know.
Yeah.
And that's the point that I don't think people have maybe picked up on.
And I think that's the key as well. When you think about customer experience with estate agents, very often it's the bit at the beginning to win the valuation and to get the property onto the market that the agents put all the effort into, and then the customer service trails off. But actually, people have very short memories. They don't remember the pretty pictures at the beginning. They don't remember how nice it was when you get your first viewings. What they remember is our conveyancing process was difficult. We had to chase somebody. We weren't getting informed properly. We constantly had to ring them rather than them ringing us. And I think if you could change that around, that's the last impression they have on your company. We all say that first impressions count, and they do count when you're winning the business. But if you want repeat business or you want to spread word of mouth, it's the last impression that counts.
It's going to be very current at the minute now because of everything that everyone's talking about at the moment in terms of local. Talk about local. The average estate agent locally to us lists between 8 and 12 properties on average. There are 2 that list 20, 30, 40 a month, but the average estate agent's only doing between 8 and 12 listings. If you look after the sales progression, they can start bumping that up, but they've then not got the extra cost of all the marketing to factor into the fees as well, because it's very aggressive with fees. Obviously, there's loads of different offerings with online agents, obviously not charging anything to sell your house, for example. And then there's a lot of estate agents, especially locally, that will sell your house for £1,000 plus VAT or £1,200 inclusive. So the fees are very, very aggressive. So the point I'm making is obviously the extra marketing costs, it's cutting into your margins all the time. Then you've got all these different running costs as well. If you can look after your sales progression, do it a way that's not being done currently, you're going to stand out, and people are going to be coming back to you for the service that you're offering, which hopefully then should grow your brand, grow your reviews, grow everything else. And what we've tried to do when we set up this business is we've sat down and thought, we didn't even know sales progression outsource companies existed 12 months ago. We had an issue and we thought, how could we solve it? And we only realized, being honest, 3 months ago, there was outsourced sales progression companies out there. We thought we'd found a new idea. But we found Kerfuffle, and then realised there was a couple of other people doing it. But we'd already thought of all the different things that estate agents were thinking about, wrote a report, making sure the quality of staff is there, and obviously the training, and making sure there's that bar maybe. It's not to say that everyone has to have that, but we wanted to offer it just to build that trust.
Yeah.
And just because we want to better ourselves and be better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it makes sense. So if I'm an agent watching this and I'm thinking, outsource sales progression, that might be the way forward for me. How do you guys progress from there? What is it that you get to know the agent and sort of what they need? Can you tailor it?
We're interested in business. What we're interested in is business and just people's passion. I think what's very important, we've partnered with people that's passionate. So I'm just going to drop some names that we've partnered with. We've partnered with Kerfuffle, first and foremost, because they're very passionate. Secondly, we partnered with a software company called Mio, because we after trying different software companies out there, we really found that because of their passion, the simplicity of how it's set up, and also the fact they've got the app that you can download and you can constantly check to see where things are at. You don't necessarily have to make the phone call 9 to 5 whilst you're at work. You actually can look on a night, look at the notes, download the app, and obviously that takes the stress away, knowing exactly where you are. So we partnered with them, and I know that they're on your platform as well. I know they've got really good reviews. We've also partnered with a conveyancer that's on your platform as well that also uses Mio. So we've almost got like a wheel of. We're trying to bring everything together to make it simpler, and so the communication is really good. And I'm hoping through time, where we need extra capacity, other conveyancers will want to jump on and make this almost wheel, so everything's almost together into one. I don't even know what the question was because I go off at a tangent.
No, well, I know exactly where that question came from. I was talking. It's the passion, Elliot, and that comes through. And I tell you something, it's a breath of fresh air, because there are a lot of passionate people in our industry. It's one of those industries as well that we work best when we work together. And I think we've got so much to learn from one another. Yeah,
it's just we could easily build an estate agent locally, and I'm sure through the ways that we've worked, not only in this industry, in different industries, and the things that we've picked up, we do really, really well, because we just want to do well and we want to look after people and make things better. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to build a business that help not only, we just want to build things hopefully nationally and just make things better and the quality better and et cetera, et cetera. So that's what we want to do. And hopefully it'll take off, hopefully.
So I'm sure it will. So I'm an agent watching this. I'm interested in outsourcing my sales progression. I pick up the phone to you, Elliot. We talked about the way that you guys work. Typically speaking, am I tied into a contract with you? How does it work?
How does it work? There's two ways that we've set it up. First and foremost, you can have what I've seen advertised as a white label service. So with Mio, you can upload your logo to us. We're going to pay for the software. So there's a cost of the software. We're going to pay for the software. You provide the logo. So when, let's call it 1, 2, 3 estate agents, they want to join us. They provide the logo. They go out to, I'll maybe jump in ahead a little bit. They go out to the valuation. They say, we've actually outsourced to a property market accredited sub-estate agency. That's what we're classed as. That do outsource sales progression. It's what they do professionally almost. And you've got your own downloadable app so that can keep you in touch through the process. The agent will pay us per case only if it completes. So let's say it falls through for whatever reason, you'll only pay on completion. So it's like a no sale, no fee. That's the first way that you can do it. The second way, we can be branded as sales progressors, and we get paid a fee if the buyer or the vendor refers. We get a referral from the conveyancer. So we partner with AV Rillo, who's also on your platform,
Yeah.
because they're very passionate. And what we've tried to partner with is passion, because then it shows to the customer, and the overall service will just be hopefully passionate and better.
Yeah.
So there's two ways that you can use us. You can use us as an extension to your team, but if you're wanting to keep that obviously in-house and you don't want to pay anything for sales progression, then if your buyer or vendor refers, or just one case, over to our preferred conveyancer, then you can use a sales progressor Mio app, and then we can progress it with our chosen conveyancer that way, and then the process is absolutely free to an estate agent.
Sounds superb. So I'd like to do a few things. One, I'm going to wish you the very best of luck with this new venture, because it sounds fantastic and it's packed full of passion and ideas. And I like the way that you've described everyone you're working with as a partner. And I think that's the way that you're going to view that as well with your clients. So the very best of luck with that. All your details can now be found on Kerfuffle. So all that is there. And anybody that's looking to sort of get going with this could do a lot worse than have just a half an hour chat with Elliot, and you will very quickly understand that this is a man that understands your business.
It's long term. It's long term. We don't want to do things short term. We want. You mentioned at the start a one-man band. I mean, it'd be great if he could get it to a point where he can double his amount of take-ons he could do. He can then employ maybe a negotiator, so his capacity can increase more, and he can be the number one in his area from us helping him remotely to grow. So yeah, it's just exciting, isn't it? It's really exciting, and we try to cover every base on our business so that the estate agent in the local area who's the best person to sell those houses can effectively become a sales office, as opposed to obviously this massive. It's just difficult to be everything. And if you could just be that fantastic person that's really passionate in your local area, we'll be that passionate person taking the rest of it through. But I'll stop talking now, because I can waffle on all day long about selling houses and just.
Well, all that leaves me to do is to thank you for your time, Elliot.
Thanks for your time, David. Take care.